welcome back to BuonaPappa. Today we're going to talk together about where and how to store baby food. When you prepare a lovely homemade baby food, even if you're using 1 carrot and 1 zucchini, you will always end up with some leftovers. The reason is very simple. When you start introducing solid foods into your baby's diet, your little one will only eat a very tiny small amount at every meal. 1 ice cube is the size of a baby meal at around 6 months of age. That means a few teaspoons, nothing more. I receive a lot of comments from parents that are very concerned about how to safely store the leftover baby food. It's true that bacteria might grow into your baby food, and when you serve your baby food to your little one, it might cause either tummy ache or diarrhea. Properly and safely storing baby food, it's very simple. You just need to follow few basic rules that basically are the same that you're going to follow when storing adult food. Let's start from the containers. First dimension, size. Size is very important. Of course, you can use adult size containers. My personal experience is that they are not functional. They are too big and you're going to end up wasting a lot of food. That's why you need to buy small baby food containers, and they come in different size pending the amount of food that your little one is going to enjoy. At the very beginning, when you're introducing solid foods in your baby's diet, I really like the freezer trays. They have small tiny portion. 1 whole is 1 ounce and basically corresponds at 1 meal for a 6 months baby. The freezer trays, they can be stored both in the freezer or in the fridge. Then, when your baby will start growing and will start asking for more food, you can switch to bigger containers. For example, the 2 ounces or the 4 ounces one. What I really like about baby food containers is that every container is 1 meal, so it's very functional. You just grab 1 container from the freezer or the fridge, and that's the right amount that you will need for every meal. A very common question that I receive on my blog is which kind of material should I pick up? Right now on the market there are a few options. You can go for glass with the plastic lid, or you can find also plastic containers, plastic and plastic, or you can find silicone containers. Every different container, I think, that has pros and cons and can be used in different situations. Let's start with the silicone containers. Silicone looks like plastic, but it's not. It's made with different elements. Silicone does not leach any chemicals into the baby food, and this is a wonderful characteristic. Also, it's very flexible, so I really like silicone for freezing baby food, because basically when you need to take away a portion of the baby food, it's very easy because the container is flexible and the food pops out very easily. Important information: not every kind of silicone is safe to store food. So when you buy a silicone container, always check that it's food safe and also petroleum free. Another useful information is that right now on the market, silicone containers, they only come for small sizes, not for big amount of food. Second material, glass. I really like glass to store baby food for so many reasons. It's a non-porous material. It means that the food inside the container will not absorb any smell or odor for other food that are in the fridge or freezer. Also, it's very functional because you can reheat the baby food directly in the glass container. You do not need to switch from the storing container to the serving container. Just remember not to do what I call temperature jumps. So you cannot place the container that was in the freezer directly in the microwave, otherwise the difference in temperature will be so high that basically the glass will crack. Also, not every kind of glass can be frozen or placed in the microwave. So when you buy a baby food glass container, always double check that it can be frozen or placed in the microwave. Third material, plastic. Of course, BPA and lead-free. I really like plastic for on-the-go meals because it's way lighter and most of all, it doesn't break. Also, I would suggest plastic containers when you need to store a cold food like a baby fruit puree and you're just storing it in the refrigerator and then you can serve it room temperature to your little one. I would not suggest to reheat the baby food inside the plastic containers. Plastic absorbs smell, odor and color. So for example, I would not recommend to use a beet puree in a plastic container if you do not want to find yourself with a nice pink container. Lid and trays. They are a very important characteristic in a baby food container. The lid helps keeping the food fresh in the refrigerator and avoiding freeze burns in the freezer. The tray is super functional. First of all, helps keeping all the containers together and helps organizing and stacking them in the freezer or refrigerator, saving a lot of space. You want to make sure to know 3 important information about your baby food. First, when the baby food was made. Second, which kind of baby food you're talking about, because carrots, they really look like sweet potatoes and they really look like oranges or peaches or mangoes. So you need to know what's inside. Also, another important information is the quantity. There are different ways that you can track all this information. The first way is super simple. Label your baby food. What's inside, when the food was prepared, and how much food is inside. Also, a lot of containers, they come with pre-marked tags that they measure the quantity that you're going to add in, and it's very useful. To distinguish your baby food, you can always use a very fun way. Colors. You can use a different color for a different category of baby food. How to wash baby food containers. You do not need to sterilize a baby food container. You simply need to wash them. I would suggest under warm water using just a bit of dish soap like you would do for your usual dishes. And my suggestion is to let the container air dry and store it away only when fully dry. Avoid using dish towels to dry them because they might contain bacteria, or simply use a clean one. A very common question that I receive is, for how long can I store my baby food, either in the refrigerator or in the freezer? Depending the kind of food that you're storing, there are different replies on how long it can stay good in the freezer or refrigerator. So, in the refrigerator, a baby food with meat can be stored for up to 1 day. Same time if the baby food contains eggs or fish. If the baby food contains a mix of vegetables and meat or eggs or fish, can be stored in the refrigerator for up to 2 days. The longer life is for baby food containing fruit or vegetables that can be stored for up to 3-4 days. For the freezer, we have longer times, of course. A baby food containing meat can be stored in the freezer for up to 2-3 months. Same timing with a baby food containing eggs and fish. A baby food with a mix of vegetables plus meat or eggs or fish can be frozen for up to 3-4 months. The longest, like in the refrigerator, is for a baby food containing either vegetables or fruit, or a mix of vegetables and fruit that can be stored in the freezer for up to 4-5 months. Very important, when you cook your baby food, you need to store it or enjoy it within 2 hours from when you finished cooking. This is the window, the safety window before bacteria that will start growing in your baby food. Very useful tip. Do not store your baby food in the fridge door, but in the upper shelf. That's where the temperature stays evenly cold, whereas in the door, the temperature will keep going up and down depending how many times, how often you open the fridge. Another useful information: if you freeze a baby food and then you thaw it, the thawed baby food will deteriorate faster than the original baby food. And the reason is kind of easy. When you freeze a food, some ice will be formed inside the food. When you thaw the food, that ice will be transformed in water, and it's that additional water that basically fastens the deterioration of the food. Never store a contaminated container. What does it mean? That if you feed your baby directly from the baby food container, whatever is left needs to be thrown away. This is kind of simple because your baby's saliva contains some bacteria, and the bacteria, they go from the saliva into the spoon into the container, and they keep growing if you put the container back in the refrigerator or in the freezer. So whatever is left inside the container that has been used to feed the baby should be thrown away. If you're interested in the beautiful baby food containers that I showed in the video today, they are from Green Sprouts I Play Baby, a super baby and eco-friendly brand that I use for my kids. And if you want more information, you can find them in the links in the area here below. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope you find it useful, and remember to subscribe to BuonaPappa to receive every single week for free a new video from me. See you next week. Ciao ciao!